What about making your sound better?
Okay, so let's make a very simple yet effective rhythm bass in Serum. Let's jump into it. So for the first wavetable on oscillator A, I want to choose this mellow but unstable. So this is a sort of distorted sine wave. This is how it sounds. It sounds exactly if it was a sine wave, but distorted. Now I want to use oscillator B as a sine wave. So let me check basic shapes. And I want to use this as a frequency modulator on oscillator A. So let me crank it up to somewhere like this. And I want to use the sync on oscillator B. So what I want to do is use an LFO to do something like this. So let's take LFO 1, drop it onto warp mode oscillator B. But I don't want oscillator B to go out from the synth, I only want it to modulate oscillator A. This wavetable position can be great. Now I also want to drag the level of oscillator A. So this way I get this nice wobble effect. Also let's add some unison voices to spread the sound. And I don't want to have the randomization on the voices. Okay, this is cool. Let's add the sub. And also I want to use LFO 1 on the level of it. And the distorted sine can be great. Okay, nice. Now it's time to choose a filter. So let's go to the flanges and let's choose, well, one of the flanger filters. I want to use LFO 1 on the cutoff also. And maybe here, which is a built-in filter. Okay, that's cool. Let's crank up the drive a little. And the pad knob is very cool to create some very nice stereo effect on the sound by, just tweaking the cutoff on the left and on the right side of the signal. But be careful with this, you don't want to go very crazy with the settings. Okay, I think this is fine, but before we go to the effects, I want to tweak a little the transposition on the octaves on oscillator B. So plus 3 octaves can make a very nice result with it. Okay, cool. Let's take a filter and use a high pass, like high 12 can be great. Crank up the resonance and use the same LFO on the cutoff to add some talking effect, a little articulation to the sound. Okay, but this sounds very silly without an OTT. Okay, let's check a distortion, like a soft clip. And also I want to use this built-in filter to drag the cutoff a little and make it wobble a lot more. Okay, but maybe let's add a little more top end to it using an EQ. Maybe a hyperdimension tool can come handy. Okay, let's call in a chorus. And use very crazy settings onto it, like the delay should be at around 10 hours and the depth pulled back a little. And the feedback, so we don't need to use a filter onto it. And just, we need a pinch of it. Oh yeah, okay, and now the delay comes, which you know we already talked about. So let's use a link, crank up the delay time to about 21 or at around 21. And crank up the feedback to achieve the metallic effect. Okay, cool. Let's add some more effects. For example, let's add, where is it? The saturator, you know, to add some more crunch to it. Let's make it sound a little heavier. Also, I want to add the phaser because it's cool, but we can make the sound a little deeper and eviler. Try to find a sweet spot where it sounds a little evil but also talky. And the envelope knob does basically the same. It drags the frequency based on the input signal. Okay, very cool. Let's add another OTT. But this time, crank up the time. And maybe add some more middle frequencies to it. And maybe I would love to hear another saturator to make the sound a little... Well, this time I'm using only to limit it. And if you want, you can always tweak the LFO to your own taste. Okay, very cool. And one more thing, maybe we can find a peak, a frequency peak that we want to just, you know, increase to make the sound a little, well, I would say more interesting. And also I want to add a little more top end. And this frequency peak can be interesting. So let's try to increase that. But always put it before the OTT, you know, the Ableton built-in OTT, because if you don't do that, it may, well, result a very, well, weird effect. So basically the OTT evens out those frequencies that we increased here in the EQ8.